Immediate crisis stage in Ukraine is now over. Um, Russian military maneuvers are ending. They are moving their troops and equipment out of the area. You can find videos of this happening. And, the best that our government has to offer is, well, we haven't confirmed that. Yeah, you can't look at satellite imaging and so forth. And that just means that they don't want to admit that this is actually happening. They know they have confirmed this, but they're not going to tell you that they actually know this. But in the actual crisis, what led to this is still in place. And in fact, NATO and the United States are even making it worse. I brought up the Minsk Accord on numerous occasions, and that was really what led to all of this. So, and yet Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, has refused to even speak. He refuses to speak with the leaders in the Donbass region, the Donetsk and Luhansk. Anyway, the two regions in the Donbass region that are petitioning for autonomy. He refuses to even speak with them. So, and they have moved more military equipment. They started moving military equipment closer to Donbass even before Russia started pulling back military equipment. So the Donbass is under more threat than before. And if you don't know the history of this, you need to look it up. I've brought it up in previous videos, but most Americans have no idea what is going on here. And they think Russia should just bow down. And there is no reason for Russia to bow down. Donbass is under threat. The encroachment over decades of NATO further and further east to Russia's doorstep poses an immediate existential threat to Russia. Russia has made very reasonable, demands at this. And these have not changed for many years. These have not changed, but this has reached a crisis point, not because of Russia, but because of the U.S. and NATO. This is unquestionable. If you pay any attention to what is and has been going on, it is the West that is causing this. So, at this point, Zelensky refuses to even negotiate with the leaders in the Donbass region. And that just means that he refuses to honor the Minsk Accord. So why is there any reason for Russia to remain in that accord? I said in my last video, one of my last videos, that the Russian Duma has almost unanimously voted to recognize the independence of the Donbass region. And if Putin signs that, that means that Russia has withdrawn from the Minsk Accord. But it's an agreement that Ukraine has never honored. So it's useless to even have it in place. And also, Putin has said, if NATO encroaches closer to Russia, to Russia's border, that it will be met with a militaristic response in some form. Why not? Yeah, if you see people with guns out in your front yard, are you not going to respond? Look at the United States calling other countries that are nowhere near us our front yard and our backyard and all of this stuff. And yet they expect Russia to accept, nuclear weapons and massive troops right on their border. There can be no good end to this. This is, Russia is the adult in the room here. Russia is the only one that has been standing up for the people in the Donbass. The people in the Donbass have been under attack for 8 years now. At least 15,000 people have died as a result of this. But we're the good guys. We are supporting literal neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Neo-Nazis that have made speaking Russian in the Donbass region illegal. Speaking, reading, writing Russian, they made illegal in 2014. And the people in the Donbass and the people in Crimea identify as ethnically Russian. If our government does not reach a diplomatic solution to this, if the government in Ukraine does not come to a diplomatic solution, a peaceful solution, this is not going to end well. So the only path forward from here is for Ukraine to ditch NATO and the West and meet with the leaders of Donbass and Vladimir Putin and reach an agreement, a peaceful agreement, honor the autonomy of the Donbass region, which was the entire focus of the Minsk Accord. And by the way, the U.S. government is saying that Russia has never honored the Minsk Accord. The only role assigned to Russia in the Minsk Accord is as a mediator. That's the only role. How are you going to mediate between two sides when one side refuses to speak to the other? Our government is not stepping in as a mediator. They don't even speak about the Donbass region. We are not the good guys here. We are the ones trying to start a war. This is fall of empire. This is an empire that has reached the end of the road, and it is acting out in desperation. This is absolute desperation by the American empirical government. All right, so if, NATO needs to stop moving further east, and Ukraine needs to oust NATO. At this point, they've actually said pretty conclusively that they don't even want to be part of NATO now, which is a very good decision because NATO and the U.S. came in and took over their country. Their economy at this point is suffering horribly, and it will continue to suffer. Their economy is going to collapse if this continues. Their government had to shut down because their parliament, most of the members of their parliament left the country. That's what their leaders have done. They left. They're not there. How would you feel if we were in the middle of such a crisis and most of Congress left the country? Because that's what happened. That's what has happened in the last few days in Ukraine. So Zelensky is going to have to step up and do something. All this garbage I've been hearing from people calling Biden a Putin puppet or some garbage like that, I laugh at that just as much as I laughed at them calling Trump a Putin puppet. All of it is ridiculous. All these ramped up tensions, and what are they? These people have this mentality that if you are not using aggressive military force, that you have somehow given in to an opposing leader or opposing country. How foolish is that? Anyway, we need diplomacy. And there is no other option until shots start getting fired. So let's wait and see what happens. Because honestly, Russia holds all the cards now. All right, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel. And I will catch you in the next one.